Welcome back to another episode of Local Search Tuesdays. This week I'm following up last week's myth-busting episode with advice about something else you should be wary of: site grader tools. There are tons of different site graders out there. Hubspot's site grader is probably the most well-known, but there are too many to actually count. It's important to realize that in most situations, those free site grader tools are really just there to gather leads. Or in many other cases, sucky vendors will use these tools to show you that you need help. They're sales tools and not much else. I could talk about this for hours and go through each reason why these tools aren't accurate and shouldn't be trusted, but I always try to keep these Local Search Tuesday episodes short, so I'll just hit the high points. Even still, it should be enough to make it incredibly obvious that these site graders aren't tools you should be paying attention to. When you put your URL into one of these site graders, you get an automated report about the quality of your site or the quality of your SEO. Seems like a great idea until you really think about how it works. Even if a lot of data is returned by the report, it's an automated report that is generated by a machine. Sure, there are lots of tools out there that assist with SEO, but you can't automate a site audit. Everyone will use tools to do a site audit, but those tools only provide data. A human brain is necessary for the interpretation of that data. It's also important to understand that these site graders are all incredibly generic. All sites are not created equal. An e-commerce site is totally different than a car dealer's website, which is totally different from a lawyer's site, which is totally different from a plumber's site. Every vertical has specific needs. A car dealership site will be much more image heavy than an attorney's site. A generic site grader doesn't take your vertical into account and treats all sites as equals. Site graders don't look at the whole picture either. SEO isn't only the technical issues or only your content or only your inbound links. SEO success comes from all the parts of the whole working together, and a site grader is only taking a high-level look at a few parts. Is it possible to gain valuable insights from a site grader tool? Sure, they're meant to give you quick insights at a high level, but again, you should never take the human brain out of the equation. As soon as you let a generic automated tool take on the role of judge, you're going to be in trouble. Without that human level of evaluation, the site grader tools don't mean much. In fact, in most cases, the site graders will mislead you. It's totally possible to get a good score on a site grader when you actually have various serious problems. It happens all the time. It's also common to get a bad score on a site grader when you don't really have any problems at all. This is one of the biggest issues. In the first scenario, you'll get a good score from the site grader and think you're okay. You'll have problems that are preventing good visibility in search results or problems that hinder conversions on your site, but you'll just keep on trucking because the site grader told you that all is good. Or if you get a bad score, you'll freak out and scramble to fix the problem or call your digital marketing provider and raise hell, when in reality, there's absolutely nothing wrong with your site. You'll waste time and effort to try to fix some little score that doesn't matter or doesn't even apply to your site. So now you know why you shouldn't trust site grader tools. Always ask for an expert's opinion before you make snap judgments based on one of these free tools. That's all the time we've got for today. So you know what that means. Put your hand on the screen right here. We totally just high-fived because you learned something awesome. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week for another episode of Local Search Tuesdays.